Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Building Resilience, Love, Learn, and Lead or Let Go. I'm Nagam Alsamari, and today we are exploring letting go. Sometimes resilience isn't about holding back. We talked about how resilience is going through and being able to bounce back from adversities and challenges that you face. There are times when it's about letting go. It's about releasing control, accepting what cannot be changed, and making peace with it and space for what's next. As Imam Ali alayhi salam said, do not let your difficulties fill you with despair. After all, it is only in the darkest nights that stars shine more brightly. I'm getting chills as I read this out loud. This reminds us that even in our hardest moments, letting go can uncover new light and possibilities. We spend so much time on things that are challenging to us, that give us grief. They live up here for a very long time. And positive moments, very fleeting. They come and they go. So we have to learn to let go as well. What is something that you have let go of that brought you peace? Let's talk about the power of letting go and how release can actually help you grow stronger. Now, letting go is not about giving up, it's about courageously stepping into something new. Sometimes it's just not the right path. You have to make up your mind and move on. So, why is letting go an act of resilience? Letting go can be one of the hardest parts of resilience. We often think resilience is about just pushing through, pushing through, pushing through every challenge you face. But again, sometimes it's about recognizing when it is time to release. As Nelson Mandela said, courage is not the absence of fear, but triumph over it. Sometimes courage means knowing when to walk away. It takes incredible strength to step back. Yet, it's one of the most courageous acts we can actually perform as human beings. Again, letting go is not about giving up. It is about shifting our focus from what we cannot control to what we can control. It's upsetting. It is annoying. It is disheartening that there are some things, some challenges going on in your life and you can't do anything about them. And maybe you take some time to think, to try to refocus, to maybe find some solutions, which is fine. It's incredible. If our thinking leads us to a solution, it's amazing. Keep that going. But when you're thinking and thinking and thinking and there is no solution, all you're doing is once again reliving those moments of challenges that you've went through. It's out of your control. You have to realize that. Now you have to shift your focus to what is actually in your control. It is freeing ourselves from this constant struggle that we're in and choosing peace instead. This choice allows us to redirect our energy towards things that truly matter to us and that can help us in the long run. When we let go, we create space for clarity, for peace and transformation. As Lao Tzu said, when you let go of what you are, you become what you might be. I love this. I'm going to repeat it one more time. When you let go of what you are, you become what you might be. We have no idea who we might be because we're stuck in that zone. We think this is who we are. I used to think personally that I have grown enough. I know who I am. And then I hit my 40s and I realized, whew, possibilities are endless. There's so much more change to come. The more you learn, the more you explore, the more you let go of, the more you experience and learn from the experiences, the more you become. There's so many more phases in our lives that we haven't even explored yet. And to do that, we have to learn from experiences first of all. We have to know that they're there to help us grow. And if we can't learn anything from them and there's really no solution to them, we have to let them go because now we have to be open to the beyond. What's next? It is an invitation to grow into the next version of ourselves, a version that is more aligned, more resilient, and more at peace. Would you like to become that person? I do. Releasing what no longer serves us, whether it's a job, a relationship, an expectation. And mind you, speaking of expectations, most of the time it is our own expectation for ourselves that is really, really high and tough, right? Think about it. Think of your own expectations. But doing this, letting go of these things requires self awareness and it requires trust. But it's in that release that we open the door to new opportunities and possibilities. So let's talk about why why am I saying that letting go brings you peace and brings you freedom and even empowerment? First of all, I want you to think back. Or maybe right now. Maybe you're living in a situation right now. Maybe you have a challenge right now that, I don't know, something you did that did not go right, or situation you're going through. What do we usually do? We ruminate. That's what we do. I've done it. We bring the situation up here, like to the very front of our, to the frontal lobe of our brain, and we consistently relive it. Think about it over and over and over and over. Rethink about the situation, what brought it on, the conversations maybe that we've had with a certain individual or a group. And in that process, we think we're trying to find a solution out of the situation we're in. We're trying to maybe even find explanations to why something happened or a reason for what we did or for what they did, or maybe a validation of what we did or what they did, or something else. We do this because we think that thinking about it may bring us some peace. First of all, let's get that conversation out and out here. Instead of up here and just think, let's get it out. Let's talk it out. Talking really helps instead of actually just thinking because you and you alone up here isn't helping. You need another perspective. Okay. And two, we spend a really long time doing this, going through this in our heads on our own, rethinking situations and we don't find solutions. And what happens is we bring ourselves down and down and down, and we feel miserable because of this rumination. That's not what we should be doing. It is absolutely not what we should be doing. And yeah, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to face a problem and I'm going to do it tomorrow. But here's the thing. Self-awareness helps me. It's going to help me tomorrow when I do have this issue because I know myself. I know what I'm going to do and I know what to do about it. I'm going to label that thought. Ooh, that's what I'm doing. I'm rethinking. Let's table it for later. Let's write it down. Let's talk to somebody about it. Let's do one, two, three to help me not just relive these moments and it's just completely useless. Now, if you do rethink a situation and you do come across a solution and you try it, you actually practice it, bring it to life, awesome. All the power to you. But if you end up going through an endless movie in your head of what happened, rethinking every detail, and is really not taking you anywhere, that's the time to put a stop to it and kind of put it in front of you and say, okay, this is what you're doing. Label what you're doing. You are ruminating. Label it. Then ask yourself, okay, what should I do about this? Again, write it down, talk about it to somebody, talk to yourself about it. Sometimes, it actually helps when you hear your own voice saying these words as opposed to just thinking them. It's a big difference when you just think and when you hear. So do that. One time I had a situation where I felt terrible about. I did something in it, and I I knew as soon as I stepped off that stage, that speech that I did was terrible. I felt it, and I could see it in people who were listening and, watching me. They were a very nice audience, but I could tell that this was not my greatest, and it didn't leave the impact that I wanted it to leave, and I felt really bad about it. And the whole drive back, I felt terrible, and I went through this in my head going, um going through the whole thing trying to figure out why, what is the reason. And sometimes I place the blame on the audience, sometimes it's on me, sometimes it's on the topic, sometimes it's on, oh, my voice. There's just like endless possibilities of blame to place. Came home, same thing. I talked to my husband and I told him this is what happened and it's terrible, and of course, he doesn't think that I do anything terrible. um but it stayed in my head and I told myself, "Okay, I had enough time to think about this." I did this because I'm aware of what I do. I said, "I'm done thinking about it. I talked to somebody, I thought about it. I talked to my daughter before, I talked to my husband about it, and I'm just going to kind of put it aside. I have so much to do. I'm going to engage in the things that I have to work on, and um then I'll bring it up. I'll pull it up later when I am feeling differently than what I am today, because it makes a difference, the perspective and the type of feeling that you have and the emotional resilience that you're going through." And I did. A couple weeks later, the videos got released and I saw the speech. It was very tough for me to go back and watch it. I'll tell you that, because I knew it wasn't good and I was completely right. It was not good. It was not my best performance. The topic was great, but I did poorly. I don't think I delivered it well. The first thing I said I'm going to do is I'm going to write about that. I'm going to publish it right on LinkedIn and I'm going to tell people this is what happened. Because I wanted to be vulnerable. I don't feel, that this feeling should just be, kept inside. I wanted to share. This is the reason. This is what I felt, and this is why I felt this way, and this is what I did about it. And now at the time, I didn't know what I was gonna do. I wrote about it, and I got some, feedback and some input, and then a couple days later I was preparing for another speech and I thought, "Ooh, you know, if I wanted to excel at this upcoming speech, I need to look at the one I messed up at." And I did. And then I looked at the one previous to it, which I thought I did really well on. And I started doing this comparison. And you know what I found? This really, really terrible speech became a benchmark against which I weigh speeches and for me to tell what worked and what didn't work and what elements to use and what not to use. And I figured out why I messed up. I wasn't telling stories. It wasn't really authentic. It didn't feel authentic and I felt uncomfortable. And all of these elements and a few more elements came together and it just produced this terrible speech. But even though it was terrible, it helped me create better speeches later on and better performances later on as a professional speaker. And now I'm not even afraid to look at that speech anymore. I'm not afraid to talk about it because I actually love it because it's helping me and it's going to continue to help me in the future. So, letting go, it helps you, brings you peace, but also sometimes it can serve you in that way. You can think back on this experience you've had later on when you let go of it and think of what, why did this go wrong? And how can I do things better next time? That's the whole point of thinking about things, right? But once you're in a better state of mind after you've let go, you'll come back to this and you won't feel the same way you did as you did before. So it's not about forgetting the past, it's about learning from it and moving forward even stronger. Letting go of control doesn't mean we've lost, it means we've trusted that we have done our best at that moment in time. And there's no changing it. That's the thing. Putting it up here, ruminating about it is not going to change it. It's an act of release, bringing clarity and helping us approach life with more open mind and heart. So let's go through some practical steps for letting go with resilience. Number one, practice acceptance. The first thing is acceptance is your first step to acknowledging what is beyond your control. This is my circle of control. This is my circle of things I cannot control. And if you accept that you can't control, move. It's time to let go of it. Remind yourself that releasing it is an act of strength, not weakness. It is so important that you do that. Tell yourself right now, say it out loud. Letting go of something out of your control is an act of strength, not weakness. Did you repeat it? Say it. Releasing something or letting go of something that is outside of your control is not an act of it's not an act of weakness. It is an act of strength. And you are strong for doing that. Two, focus on what you can control. You spend so much energy over here on the things that you cannot control. Instead, let's shift. Shift your energy towards what is within your power already. Your reactions, your choices, your attitude, how you think about things. This empowers you and restores calm back. I could not do anything. I cannot go back in time to fix that speech. I couldn't take more time to explain to the audience that I messed up. It's not going to really do anything anyway. What can I do? Learn. Learn from it. Look at the different things that I did in that speech and break it down into different elements and figure out how I'm going to use this in the future to help me perform better. Again, focusing on what is in your control. And number three, release expectations and embrace the present. That's most of our problems. That's where they lie, is that we live in the past. constantly. We think about what we did yesterday, what we talked about yesterday, who we came across yesterday. You know, and it just we can't go to yesterday. We're here, we're today. Focus on that. We have got to let go of the rigid expectations that we put on ourselves. We allow ourselves to live fully in the moment. That's what we need to do. The present holds opportunities and possibilities. The past does not. And those the rigid types of thinking, thinking about the yesterday, it's going to block our opportunities and possibilities and growing our potential and living our potential or realizing it even. So, one, acceptance. Accepting that you're going to let go of these situations that are beyond your control because you are strong. Two, you're focusing on what you can control versus what you cannot. And three, let go of these rigid expectations. I must do this by, I must have this done by. If it's not within your realm of power and your capability, you are putting a lot of dampeners on your potential and ending up with really high expectations and standards that you will not be able to meet. And you're going to feel that you may be weak or are incapable. And it's just useless to think that way. Let's think about our strength. I always tell people, what is your strength? What is one strength? Name one right now. What are you good at? What do people ask you for often? What do you help people with? What do you enjoy helping people with? What is that strength? What happens when you think about your strength? You actually develop it even more. It flourishes even more. You nurture that strength that it becomes better, stronger, and then you can help even more with it. And with that, every time you do this, you build on those strengths. Those weaknesses are going to either disappear or they're going to get better. The other side is true. When you start thinking about your weaknesses, the negative thoughts, all they do is pull you down, pull you down, pull you down, pull you down. And even all these strengths that you have, you're gonna forget about them. You're not gonna think about them because you're too busy thinking about the weaknesses that are pulling you down more and more and more. And so think about your strengths. What is one strength that you have? So today we explored how letting go is not about weakness. It's about strength. By releasing what no longer serves us and embracing the present moment today, this right now, we open ourselves to clarity, to freedom, to peace, and to growth. All of these lead to growth. Remember, in the darkest nights, stars shine more brightly. Resilience is knowing when to let go, trusting that light will guide you forward. What is something that you have let go of that allowed you to grow? Or what's something that you would like to let go of? What is something that you feel like is holding you back? You keep ruminating about and it's really not making you go anywhere. What is it? Let it go. Share your experiences with others. It really helps us learn from one another and build a supportive community. And when you hear what others have to say, when you hear who went through what and how they actually worked on it, it gives you new ideas. Maybe you can try them. So share your experiences. What is something that you have let go of that allowed you to grow, and what is something that you're ready to let go of and you want to let go of, and it's time to do that. In the next episode, which is going to be the second Sunday of December, we'll continue exploring resilience by applying the love, learn, and lead or let go framework. to everyday challenges, from managing stress to building confidence. I hope you've all enjoyed today's episode, and hopefully you can join us in the next journey when we talk more about resilience and how to train your resilience muscle. If today's episode inspired you, share it with someone who might benefit from learning about the strength in letting go. Remember, resilience is knowing when to release as well as when to hold on. Until next time, take care and continue to train your resilience muscle. Bye.